Welcome back to my channel and a special welcome if you're new here. My name is Jen. I'm a certified weight loss and nutrition coach, and today we're talking about frozen meals, specifically the 12 worst, most unhealthiest, do not buy frozen meals at your grocery store. So if you're excited, give this video a big, huge thumbs up. Make sure you're subscribed and your bell notification is turned on because I upload new videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Check out the description box down below for nutrition coaching, where I offer personalized to you macros and calories. Highly recommend, as well as one-on-one coaching if you would like to chat with me directly. Links and discounts to all my favorite healthy things are also down in that description box. So let's talk about the 12 worst frozen meals at your grocery store. Let's be honest, there's nothing more convenient than a frozen meal. All you need is the meal and your microwave, and voila, within about 3 to 7 minutes, you have a complete meal. We also know that convenience is really important as we're really busy in our day-to-day lives. So sometimes, just sometimes, we have to rely on a frozen meal. But there really truly are some frozen meals out there that just aren't worth it. Specifically the 12 that we're going to talk about today. I'm going to let you know what frozen meals to avoid and why. These are ranked from bad to worse. So we're going to start with the lesser of the evils and work our way all the way up to the evilest frozen meal out there. Number 1 comes from Lean Cuisine, and this is specifically the sesame chicken. Now we know that lean cuisines are touted to be a little bit more healthy, a little bit lower calorie, more protein, more vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, but is that necessarily the truth? Not with this sesame chicken. Not only is the chicken in this frozen meal breaded, it is also tossed in 15 grams of sugar, 15, along with an astronomical amount of sodium. The sodium in this particular meal is the same amount of sodium that you would consume if you ate 15 pretzel rods. So between the breaded chicken, the added sugar, and the sodium, this one falls on this list. Number 2 comes from Amy's, and this is her cheese lasagna. Amy's is another frozen meal, frozen burrito, frozen breakfast bowl line that's in the health foods. That's again shown to be a healthy option. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of really great options from Amy's, but the cheese lasagna, not a great option. This dish is made up of 5 different cheeses. And if you think about adding 5 cheeses to any meal, you know that it's going to be pretty high in fat. This is also layered with lasagna noodles and marinara sauce. It has over 680 grams of sodium in a rather small serving. I mean, we're talking a pretty small slice of lasagna. There are a lot of other Amy's options that you should look for, but just keep the lasagna in the freezer section. Number 3 comes from Marie Callender's, and this is her sweet and sour chicken. Now, instantly when I think of unhealthy Marie Callender's meals, I always think of their pot pies. They have so many calories and grams of fat. So it's interesting that the sweet and sour chicken is on this list. You might be thinking, well, I'd rather have sweet and sour chicken than the sesame chicken that we talked about. But the truth of the matter is, this one's even worse. It's battered chicken, similar to the sesame chicken. It's tossed with some sweet and sour sauce, some vegetables, pineapple, and some rice. It doesn't sound so bad. Well, this is a solid protein serving, which we appreciate. It's also solidly packed with 29 grams of sugar. That's almost double the sesame chicken. This is the same amount of sugar that you would be consuming if you ate not 1, not 2, but 3 original Krispy Kreme glazed donuts. Number 4 comes from Michelina's, and this is the tortellini Alfredo. Now, the Michelina's brand is a really affordable frozen food brand. Most of their meals should be left behind, especially this tortellini Alfredo. You might look at this and go, that's a great option. It's only 240 calories for the entire meal. But don't let that fool you. These tortellinis are stuffed with ricotta, Parmesan, and Romano cheeses, all tossed in a really yummy, high-calorie, high-fat Alfredo sauce. And we already know that Alfredo sauce is one of the most unhealthiest sauces out there. This meal is tiny. It's a very small serving. It's certainly not going to keep you full, and it has 960 milligrams of sodium, over half, more than half of what you should be consuming in an entire day. And remember, 240 calories looks really good, but this is a small portion, which really would be better served as a side dish, not a complete meal. Number 5 comes from Banquet. Now, Banquet is kind of the pioneer of frozen meals. I remember eating these as a kid. I remember my dad eating these when I was a kid. The particular one we're going to talk about today is their chicken fried chicken meal. It's really best to avoid anything labeled as fried to start with. This particular meal has almost 1,000 milligrams of sodium. Again, you're well on your way to your total sodium for the day. Ideally, we want to shoot for about 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day and not exceeding 2,300 milligrams. So if we're shooting for 1,500, this is 2/3 of our day's worth of sodium. Not to mention, it's super high in calories, super high in fat, and again, with the word fried in the title, it should be avoided. Now we're going to talk about Stouffer's. This is another really popular frozen meal option, and this is the Stouffer's mac and cheese. Raise your hand if you've eaten the Stouffer's mac and cheese. We know that mac and cheese is really the top tier of comfort food. It doesn't really do much for you nutritionally. There's really relatively zero protein in macaroni and cheese. And this baked version of the Stouffer's macaroni and cheese is not only mac and cheese, but it also has a layer of crispy, buttery Romano breadcrumbs, really creating a double dose of unhealthy. It's loaded with fat and sodium. And again, macaroni and cheese isn't a complete meal, doesn't offer a lot of nutritional value. And again, this would be better served as a side, but it's too high in calories, fat, and sodium to be a side dish. Number 7 is another Stouffer's meal, and this is their Bowlfuls fried chicken and mashed potatoes. Back to the word fried. It's fried chicken, mashed potatoes, corn, and gravy, very reminiscent of the KFC bowls. Well, it's certainly gratefully less calories than the KFC famous bowl. It's still extremely high in sodium. And again, when we see the term fry on a food label, we know that it's automatically going to be high in fat. And this one is also extremely high in sodium. Number 8 goes to another Marie Callender's meal, and this is the meatballs and sausage pasta. And this is the meatball and sausage marinara. Now, don't get me wrong, the picture on the front of the package looks really, really good. This is pasta with marinara and sausage. What could be better? This meal is really high in protein, 25 grams in this meal. So yes, it's high in protein, but it's also extremely, extremely high in sodium. That's going to be a common trend amongst frozen meals in general, especially these 12 frozen meals, is their sodium content is off the charts and just not something that you want to be consuming. Next up, we're circling back to Banquet, and this is their Salisbury steak meal. This is the one I remember my dad eating as a kid. Banquet strikes again. This time they're serving up steak smothered in gravy alongside mashed potatoes, corn, and dessert, cinnamon apples. There's 1,320 milligrams of sodium, which is almost an entire day's worth in this meal. Now, granted, it's a complete meal. You have a protein, a carb, a fat, a dessert, but none of these are big portions, and this meal is certainly not going to keep you satisfied for long. And again, it's almost your entire day's worth of sodium. Number 10 goes to Hungry Man. We haven't even talked about Hungry Man yet. This is another one I remember my dad eating, and this is their chicken with cheese fries. Just the name alone explains why this is almost the worst of the worst on this list. It's battered chicken, fries, swimming in cheese sauce. It's high calories, it's loaded with salt, and again, it's just a fast food version of a frozen meal, and one that really isn't going to give you much nutritional value, just giving you a lot of calories, fat, and again, lots of sodium. Now we're almost to the worst of the worst, and number 11 goes to DiGiorno's, and this is their 3-meat small pizza. So this is a personal sized pizza. DiGiorno went ahead and made these smaller personal size pizzas so that you're able to consume it for lunch or dinner in one meal rather than consuming a large version of their pizza. The issue with this particular mini pizza is the crust is stuffed with cheese. That's the first issue, making it really high in calories, sodium, and fat. And we already know that trans fats are things that should be avoided or eaten in very, very, very slim moderation. The fact that in this pizza there's 1 gram of saturated fat is really what makes this even more problematic. The 2020 to 2025 American Dietary Guidelines says that you should not eat trans fat in any fashion. So the fact that this has 1 gram is too many for a frozen meal, not to mention the calories, the fat, the sodium. It explains why this is almost the worst of the worst. And topping the chart, making it the worst of the worst when it comes to frozen meals, goes back to our good friend Hungry Man. And this is the double chicken bowl boneless fried chicken. No surprise that the word fried is in the title. It's 2 fried chicken patties, not 1 but 2, with a side of mac and cheese. Over 2,000 milligrams of sodium. So for those of us that watch our sodium or try to stay within that 1,500 to 2,000. This is your entire day's worth of sodium in one relatively small meal. This is pretty scary. And then you look at the calories and the fat in this meal, and this makes it absolutely terrifying. 760 calories, 34 grams of fat. 10 of those are saturated. So almost half of the fat in this meal is saturated fat. 76 grams of carbs. And the only thing this has going for it is it has 39 grams of protein. But all of this together explains why this is the worst when it comes to frozen meals. So this one, leave it at the grocery store. There are a lot of healthier options out there. Speaking of healthy frozen meal options, let me know down in the comments if you'd like me to do a video on some healthy options for frozen meals. Now, I know we're busy and I know that convenience foods are really important for a lot of us. So it'd be nice to know that there are some healthy options out there and what those are. So let me know down in the comments if you would like me to let you know what the healthy frozen meals are. But these 12 that we talked about today, leave them at the grocery store. You don't need them in your life. If you enjoyed today's video, and of course, if you found it helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not, because I upload every Tuesday and Thursday. Turn your bell on so you never miss a single video. Check out the description box down below for nutrition coaching, as well as links and discounts to my favorite healthy options. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye.